Hello, everyone. Welcome to my series From an African's Perspective with Sweetie C. So today I'm going to ask a series of questions, and I just want to get an African's perspective on the matter. So first question is, what is your perspective of Africa as a whole?
Africa is a continent and not a country. That's how people in the world perceive it. It's one place. It was divided by Western ideologies who are scrambling for the resources that Africa owns. It's the cradle of civilization. Life itself started in Africa. So, Africa is what is holding the planet today. There is enough for everybody, but one man wants it all.
So Africa is the cradle of civilization, and all the resources are available in Africa. So then, what are the misconceptions of Africa? What would you say are the misconceptions of Africa?
That Africa is poor. That the people of Africa are poor. That the people of Africa are uncivilized. That Africa is not fit for humans. When I first came traveling around, living in Africa, people were asking me silliest of questions, but I don't blame them. Questions like, do you have houses? How did you learn English? Do you have cars over there? Those kind of questions. But thank God for the internet today. People are seeing for themselves. They're finding out that the pyramids, which is the most solid structure ever been built on the planet, was built in Africa.
So some of the misconceptions of Africa is, there's no housing. How did you learn to speak English? How would you respond to those questions? I mean, do you look at the person and you think it's their fault that
It's not their fault.
Okay.
It's never anybody's fault. If you don't know, you don't know. Until you know. Now, 98% of the time, the story you hear is one-sided. From somebody who already is telling his story, or her story, whilst this story has never been told. So if somebody keeps telling you, like these international organizations who have all these links to Africa, where they claim they're helping Africa, they're coming to help, they always show you that porky side.
Yes. Same
Tell you
commercial.
if you send $1 a day to that kid, that kid is happy. That kid's life will change. Now, these organizations have been advertising for over 50, 60 years now.
Yes.
With all that dollar they be sending to every kid. Don't you think Africa would be superb today? But no, it's going from bad to worse. 98% of all the poorest countries are African countries. Now, we should ask ourselves why. If Africa have all the natural resources,
True, that's what you said.
all the gold and all the diamond and platinum and uranium and you name it in the world comes from
Yes.
Africa, how should Africa be poor?
Exactly.
Because they have changed their ideology to money. They value people's lives with paper, that paper money that they print, which has that 4 numbers. You come to African countries, $1 is equivalent to thousands and thousands and thousands of African currencies. Now, this very money is not printed by Africans. It's printed by the West. They gave us and told us to use it in the name of going international.
Right.
And they created an organization called International Monetary Fund, where any country going through that process, you go through IMF, especially African countries, we don't have the machines to print the money. So they print it for us. And every paper they print, we have to pay them for it. So how about that? We're paying them to print the money for us. That gives us debt in the first place. Because if we start paying them with the money they print for us, what will be left to share? So every African country owes the Western world according to how they created the system. So now everybody would be thinking, when you see Africa underdeveloped, that what is happening to Africa being underdeveloped? Look at the leaders of Africa. Why are they not doing things to develop Africa?
Okay, let me do a follow-up question before we get into that. Before we go into the leaders of Africa, have you seen the benefits of any of those organizations that come to Africa and said they're helping? I mean, is there anybody with a community that has?
There's a lot of benefits from these organizations that come to help in Africa. Their first benefit is for themselves. They come to benefit themselves. They come to natural resource filled countries and establish themselves there. They make sure with just like how an animal is very sneaky to creep up on another animal and attack them.
Right.
It's the same way these organizations creep up in Africa and attack us and act like they're helping us. The benefits that we receive from them is a bag of rice, let's presume. Now, why, with all the resources they have, can't they establish farms and farms and farms and plantations and plantations and schools upon schools and hospitals upon hospitals?
Right.
With all the million and gazillion dollars we hear they talk about all the time. Hear this. President Obama went to the United Nations one time and said, let the rest of the world contribute towards helping Africa. And then they came together and they contributed 5 billion for the whole continent of Africa. President Obama gave a speech and said he's patting the backs of the countries for contributing 5 billion. They've been very generous to help Africa. When there was a recession in America, there's a company called Enron, one company with about what? Let's say they have 50,000 employees or 100,000 employees. They gave them $100 billion. One company bailout.
Okay.
And they gave Africa, a whole continent, $5 billion. That's a disgrace. They disrespect us. They don't respect us. They belittle our integrity because of this vanity thing. This paper money, this money that they use is what they actually use to control us. Another reason why they killed Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, because he said we should get away from this paper currency and start using the gold dinar.
Okay, so before we go into Gaddafi, let me ask you a question.
No, 1 second. When Gaddafi proposed that the African countries start using the gold dinar, that's when they went and executed him, cold-blooded, with impunity. If you go against the West, they come for you. Any country that does not do what the West say, they come for you.
But wasn't Gaddafi considered an extremist, like someone who...
That's my point. Who called Muammar Gaddafi an extremist?
Maybe they not use those words, but I'm just saying they...
Okay, who labeled him whatever they label him?
Exactly, yeah.
It is the Western media. When Gaddafi came over here for United Nations meeting, they did not even give him nowhere. He had to rent a parking lot and pitch his tent up for $5 million a night. It was even Trump who rented it to him.
Well, so you agree with some of Trump's ideologies? You agree with Trump? The things that he's doing so far?
This is America. This is Donald Trump. This is white people. He's doing what he thinks is right for America. If Africa can have somebody who's doing what is right for Africa and don't listen to nobody else, I think Africa would be great. I'm not saying that Donald Trump is doing the right thing. I'm just saying, if we can have somebody in Africa who can focus and just say, for Africa to be great,
Right.
like the way the white people are thinking for their place, they don't care about nobody else. They will kill anybody and they will do anything to make you realize their wish. If we come together as Africans, black people, and
Just Africans. We're
we unite. Black
Unite.
people generally, no matter where you come from, as
Exactly.
long as you're a black man, you're an African. So they have brainwashed us and changed our ideologies into thinking that we are not even Africans. That's why they call you, but other people like in America say African Americans, black Americans. Have you ever had white Americans?
No, but I will say this. So, what do you agree with the policies of Africa as they stand, as far as
What?
with allowing these organizations and working with the United Nations? Is that something that needs to be changed, or
Most definitely. Working with the United Nations has proven futile for African countries. There's no African country in the United Nations Security Council. So they make decisions for all African countries. In fact, they're trying to get out Mugabe right now, because Mugabe was pushing them that they should have one African country in the Security Council. So if Mugabe gets out of the way, nobody will say anything else. They're using the pretext that he's been in power for 40 years and everything. Just like the Queen.
now Mugabe is from Zimbabwe, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes.
The president of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Now the people in Zimbabwe are protesting. Do you think they understand what is going on? Why
Okay.
would they be
The
protesting?
people in Zimbabwe are protesting. We see that on the news media. They don't show the whole country. They show a small fraction of people protesting. And in that same news media, they showed the same Mugabe sitting down with the generals having a meeting.
Right.
What kind of double-edged sword and thing is going on? And nobody knew what was discussed in that meeting, except they came out and we're hearing that Mugabe refused to step down. All of a sudden, 40 women came from nowhere and said Bill Cosby harassed them. Or 60. Then we keep hearing it back to back. I mean, after 40 years, these women come and say, this man touched my butt. Something is fishy. That means somebody is pushing something and is doing something the same way they've been doing to African countries. They're just exposing themselves right now. The same thing is happening to Zimbabwe now, because what Mugabe said is against the West. And the West definitely have something in the hands of getting Mugabe out. Because Mugabe was one of the first leaders very recently to kick all white people out of his country, which will mean progress for Africa. Because if they're in Africa, Africa will not go forward. They're doing everything to get our resources. They don't care about the people. We are just a tool and resources. These people enslaved us and divided our continent and came up with a story that we sold each other. To who? To them? Do they have gold? Do they have diamonds? Do they have platinum? They don't have nothing. So what did they have that my grandfather decided to sell me? I mean, my grandfather wake up every morning and see me, and then the white man come one morning and say, sell your son to me. And my grandfather say, okay. Come on, man. It don't make no sense. So the West in Africa is not productive for Africa.
All right, so you have just listened to the first series of From an African's Perspective. Stay tuned. We have more to come. Till next time, peace.